Elvis, of course, really wanted to perform. I mean, he loved performing. We all know that. And I had the rare opportunity of being in Las Vegas when he opened. I'd heard he was going to open in Vegas in the late 60s. And I was there with a date. And I remember we walked by, and all the audience had gone in. The crowd had all gone in. And nobody could get tickets. I mean, it was impossible unless you shelled out big money, I guess. But I went up to the door and I said, hey, is there any room left in there? And, well, no, but there may be something way in the back. So we went way in the back. I'm not kidding you. Upstairs at the Hilton, in the back where they were doing the dishes, where they didn't stop talking, and you could hear all the dishes. And I said, I hope they stop before he comes out. They didn't stop. But when he came out, the goosebumps on my arm, I mean, I was mesmerized. Now, that was the worst seat in the Hilton that night, right? And we both sat there wide-eyed. The next night, we're going by again. I said, let's give it a try. Let's see if we can get in. We got there 3 minutes before the show was going to open and laid $20 on the doorman. I said, you got a seat? He says, sure. He says, come this way. I said, oh, we're going to be back up by the dishes again. But anywhere would have been great. He walked right through the center of the room, and he's walking by a lot of stars. I'm looking back to the right, and I said, gosh, where's he taking us? So right down in the center, dead center of the stage, seat number 1 was hers, seat number 2 was mine, and we were looking up at the microphone. I said, what? I said, I figured it out. What happened was they usually save those center tables for the high rollers or some personal friends. Well, it hadn't filled the table, so there were these 2 seats, and we were dead center. To top it off, he comes down, starts singing, and sees my date, reaches down and kisses her. Goes away, comes back and kisses her again. Now, once is enough. Twice was, she wasn't even there. She was on the cloud somewhere. What was interesting is she looked a little bit like Priscilla, and she told me, so that's the reason he did. But the same feeling that I had the night before in the worst seat in the house, I experienced no bigger by being right there, not more than a foot or 2 away from him. And that's the kind of impact he had. While the dishes were clanging, while the people were talking in back of me in another room, there was no difference. The goosebumps were there. And it was, that to me, and I was there at the Hollywood Bowl when the Beatles opened up, and there was that screaming, high-pitched screaming for at least an hour before they went on. I was on stage to introduce them, but nothing ever have I experienced like when Elvis walked out there on that opening, for me, of his Vegas show. It was just spellbinding.